This sword from the frigid north was really useful for making popsicles and birdicles. Bernardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. "Oh, you left without saying goodbye." Again, he said, "Please, I'm enjoying this a little too much," she said, shaken. "Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you?" said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Bernardo about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Bernardo didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her? As they reached the ruins, Renato could see ravens everywhere, searching for the rebel base. They'd have to hide the Farfarer or go on foot. "What if we get separated?" asked Lapino, for once thinking ahead. "I'll show you a map to the base," Renato told Lapino. "Renato, don't do this," said Zenobia. "We were friends once. We..." "Shut it, witch, or I'll shackle your mouth too," said Lapino. And then, a few moments later, they touched down. As Lapino pulled Zenobia off the Farfarer, Bernardo readied himself for the battle ahead. "I'm sorry I nicked your jacket," she said. "It's just... oh God. It's stupid, but it smelled like you." "What?" he said, confused. "Then... why didn't you ride? Why didn't you far speak?" "Oh, save the romantic nostalgia. Let's go!" shrieked Lapino. So Renato launched himself down the path to the secret base. When Renato went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous. Don't get ahead of yourself, lad. He missed her. Not Zenobia. Renato had never thought he'd date a librarian. He'd always figured himself for the barmaid type. But then, he'd never figured the library of Ubar would have comic books, or that Hypatia would know anything about them. He missed her.
Kill the fox!
Caught the ravens. Nobody said they were original. Bernardo was walking Zenobia to the rebel secret base, where she would be interrogated. So, why was he feeling so scared? Once you try it, you're hooked. Firewalls only let you through if they think you're hot enough. Sharp? Check. Pointy? Check. Flexible? Check. What else do you need in a sword? They caught their breath. It's beautiful, she said, looking at the ruins. This used to be the library of Ubar, he said. Before your father's ravens smashed it, Do we have to talk politics? She asked. That's not how I want to remember you, she said with an odd, wistful look at her face. She was as beautiful as she'd ever been, and as brave. Peppino huffed. They got back on the trail. These platforms were great. Renato wanted one for his house. It was definitely easier to fight inanimate objects. It would be fun to throw healing fruit at people. They wouldn't know whether to be mad or not. Renato was dead tired. Then he was just dead. Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good. Alas, they had to bury him in a bucket. Actually, several buckets.
Time, boys!
Caught the lead, Raven.
Waiting.
Slippy's hit, he thought. Renato did not feel well. In fact, he felt dead. Dying, he thought. I'm the hero. Where Renato went next, we cannot follow. Yet.
Wallabies, he thought. Why did it have to be wallabies?
This is what it was like to die. Not nearly as much fun as they said.
God, it's full of stars.
Thought, Renato? To everything, there is a season. He turned over and died. Rosebud, he said to no one in particular as he died.
should have done a barrel roll, he thought, as he died. Dreams may come, he thought. And then he found out. Bye-bye, life, he thought. Hello, emptiness. That could have gone better, thought Fernando as he died.
Yeah.
I should really look for another line of work, he thought. And then he died.
Renata hated warlocks. The way they could hurt you and you couldn't hurt them back.
Time to die, he thought. And it was. for dinner, he thought. I hope it's not broccoli.
Once again, Renato was dead right. Or actually just dead.
As they made their way to the secret rebel base, Renato felt strange. Zenobia was his prisoner, yet somehow she felt more like an old friend. He wanted to tell her all his secrets, but suddenly the ruins lit up with thousands of fireworks. There was a thunderous roar and dust rose. The caves were collapsing. The caves! You've been playing me? Renato said, and he stared at Zenobia.
I'm sorry, she said, and she seemed almost embarrassed. Then everything went dark.
When Renato came to, he had a terrible headache. Also, Zenobia's sword was at his throat, and her shackles were gone. So was Lupino. The terrible thing is, he said, I really have missed you. Now that we've destroyed the rebellion, would you consider becoming an advisor to the Emperor's daughter?
I'm no one's servant. Everybody serves. Even if it's only destiny. I like to choose my own destinies, he said.
The whole point of a destiny is you can't choose. Oh, never mind, she said. Look, if I see you again, I'll have to kill you.
He watched her ship soar away. He would see her again, he decided. Even if he had to fight his way across the entire fleet.
The Imperial fleet was cleaning up the few rebel remnants. For only a moment, he thought about running. But heroes don't run, even when the world is against them. Even when their cause is hopeless, and their efforts futile, and pointless, and useless, and death painful and guaranteed. He's decided to stop thinking for a while. The portal was heavily guarded. It must go someplace they really didn't want him to go. There were still so many games to play, Renato thought as he died. You know what I hate about you guys? Everything. We'll always have Paris, he thought. And then he died.
guess now I find out what's next, he thought. Sometimes, Renato really hated inanimate objects. He'd once met a pirate captain who used hooks to get around his ship. Oh, what was his name again? It was a bit windy up here. Renato's arm was sore, his armor wet with raven blood. He was tired of death. But death was not yet tired of him. The rebels were losing. Badly. In some other universe, Renato thought, he and Zenobia had left Sword Fu School together, taken other names and sailed off into the mists. Not this Zenobia, and not him. For him, there was nothing to do but forge ahead. Kill the Emperor and end this. There was a radiance at the end of a long, dark tunnel. Mother? He thought.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there?
I'll just have a dash, thought Renato. last, he reached the Emperor's ship. Zenobia was there. "Why'd you have to come back?" she said. "Guess I'm just serving my destiny." He shrugged. "You don't even know what that word means," she said. "Do you ever wonder if things have been different all the time?" she said, and drew her sword. In the end, Bernardo lay bleeding out on the deck. Zenobia sat by his side, upset. "What are you so upset about?" he asked. "You wouldn't understand. Why didn't you tell me you were going to leave school? I was afraid you'd convince me not to." "I guess I'll have to buy you a drink in the halls of the Valiant then," he told her, and then he was gone. And just like that, he was alive again, and back on the Farfarer, still fleeing burning Ubar. The book was still open before him. So, the book was a portal. It took you to the future, when your destinies would branch. He had failed and died 3 times, and he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome. But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the path of destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game-changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens? The island was windswept desert. No one went there except ostriches and ostrich hunters. The Iblis stone. It would whisper promises in his ear, offer him power for blood. But this time, Renato was sure he could master it. And so, Renato went ostrich hunting. Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis stone? Long hidden in a buried temple? Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals?
In this chest, there were woodcuts of amazingly beautiful vixens wearing no clothes at all. And something more useful.
Sorry, mustache, thought Renato. Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late. Haven't you always wanted to do that?